use and for people. You have to be creative to see how they make great
Makes you see how far our bridge we can make without letting it touch the table. So once the whole class is split into teams, and right now we are like defining the problem, different concepts, how we can make it stronger, try to see like advantages.
Good evening. Before I begin, I'd like to ask Mrs. Marshall to join me, Mr. Bender, Mrs. Tracy Taylor, and Mr. Ben Lieberman to join me at the podium. Tonight, I am honored to introduce to you a very special guest whom I invited back to Lakewood after reading a beautiful article about her from NJIT, and of course I shared it with all of you and most of Lakewood. Many of you may remember her as she was Lakewood High School's 2017 valedictorian, Ruth Fiore. Ruth currently attends New Jersey Institute of Technology and is working hard to make Lakewood proud. Since Ruth is like many of our students, the first one in her family to attend college, I have asked her to speak tonight in the hopes that she will inspire all of you to take the bold steps that she is currently undertaking herself. Ruth, would you like to inspire our students?
I would like to say that my story is not very unique. I know for a fact that many of my peers from Lakewood are the first to go to college in their family. And I also feel like from the home that I grew up in, I was very privileged. I always had a bed to go into at home, and I always had food at the table. But I know a lot of students at Lakewood High School don't have these privileges. And I just want to tell you, just know that your hardships that you're going through right now in high school are building your character. When you go off to college, if you do choose that path, you're going to find other people who have grown up more privileged than you. You're going to see, I'm sorry, it's okay. You're going to feel stupid at first because you're going to feel stupid at first because kids in your classes have won robotics championships, have taken 12 APs, have already had like 1 million college credits already. So just know that everything is bound to happen to you, and just know that you have your own path. In college, if you do choose to go, it's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be hard. For your life in Lakewood, if you do choose to live on campus, and you're going to meet people who don't know your struggles that you've had, and it is very tough, but just know that being in Lakewood, you're a very unique individual, and the community here wants you to grow, wants you to achieve, so just take that, appreciate that while you're here, and just make everyone proud. Thank you.
Well, here at Lakewood High School, we've had a lot of positive role models, and I'm going to ask Mr. Lieberman if he could say a few words.
Good evening. Wow, Ruth, that was beautiful. We are honored to welcome back our 2017 valedictorian. My wife has unfortunately been through serious life-threatening trauma earlier this week and is now in the ICU. Due to the importance of tonight's event honoring Ruth Fiore, my wife and I have decided that I'd come down for a few minutes to acknowledge Ruth's accomplishments. Ruth has shown us all what it means to be a student. She made us all proud last year when she was admitted to Newark School of Engineering at NJIT. She made us proud again when she earned a 5 on the Calculus AP exam, a feat that earned her much respect. Her success is attributed to her persistent hard work and a maturity level that is rarely found in a high school student. Lakewood High School's new STEAM Academy is offering students the opportunity to get a head start on their careers in science, technology, engineering, the arts, or mathematics. Ruth has taken a deep interest in our new engineering pathway within the STEAM Academy and has served on its advisory committee alongside NJIT professors and field experts. She has also set the path for our future calculus students by writing and sharing the secrets of her successes with my current calculus students. Congratulations, Ruth. You make us all very proud to be a pioneer. Thank you.
I would just like to say again, I feel like being here, I have a lot of attention on me, but I just want to tell the students here that I hope that you guys will be in the same position as me. I feel really weird having this whole presentation, but I just wanted to make it so that I can inspire you guys to do the same. You don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a doctor, just for you to achieve and be successful in your life and have your own happiness will just be enough for you to make Lakewood proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. I'd like to ask Mrs. Marshall if she'd like to say a few words.
So I think Ruth's words speak for itself. I can't say anything better if I could send a message to all of the students that are here tonight. But I will tell you that Ruth, I've been very fortunate to know her since kindergarten. And she has always had that determination, but I'm fortunate that I am able to watch her as she prepared for the transition out of high school. And she really captured everything at her valedictorian speech. I know I had one of the board members come up to me and tell me what a wonderful speech that was. They were very touched by it, and I feel very proud as the principal that I had Ruth representing our class of 2017, and I wish her nothing but the best.
Thank you, Mrs. Marshall and Mrs. Tracy Taylor.
All right, so when you work as a school counselor, each year you get to know your students more and more. It's really not until junior and senior year that you really start to get in the grind with them. But Ruth is totally different from all the students I had. I've had her since she was a freshman. Freshman year, she's very quiet, you hear much from her, she's always doing what she's supposed to, so, we really didn't connect a lot. Sophomore year, I remember her coming to me, and she was like, I need to make an appointment with you, I need to start with college, I need to start with SATs, and she had her plan already made. I didn't need to tell her what to do, she always told me what to do. I felt like I was a student, and she was the counselor. In her article, she says that she really did most of this on her own, and I can truly say that, besides me handing her stuff in, I never had to go after her. She always came to me, she said, this is what I need. She would make me a checklist of what I needed to send for her. She is truly an inspiration, as are all of our students, but I'm so privileged to have known her for these 4 years. I know she is going to do the most wonderful things. She's going to be so successful, and I'm so happy that she was invited back and she was acknowledged in this way. And I would love to see the rest of you, standing here with her. So, thank you.
I'd like to thank you, Ruth, and thank you for teaching us a thing or two, and we wish you well on all your future endeavors. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. James Gillick from the local Boy Scout organization to please join me at the podium.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here. My name is Jim Gillich. I'm the Executive Director for the Boy Scouts in Ocean in Atlantic County. And we're very excited to announce a partnership that we're working on with the Lakewood Board of Education, to thank the Board of Ed for their support. We're going to be working with Georgian Court to bring scouting to the Lakewood School District. We've had a program that's been here for a few years now, and we're very thrilled to be able to continue the program. For those of you who aren't familiar with scouting, it really teaches children three things: character, leadership, and achievement. And actually, I don't really like following Ruth Fiore. It seems to be a fantastic example of exactly what scouting tries to instill, and Lakewood is obviously doing an outstanding job of that now. Our hope is through the Boy Scouts of America and working with Cub Scouts that we can try and work with the next generation of children. We already have about 45 children that are in Clark Street that are enrolled. We just had a program the other night trying to recruit young people, and we got about 20 children in Screw Street that are interested already. So it looks like we're off to a great start, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce Laura Wagner, who's our partner with Georgian Court University. It's going to be helping provide some of the students who are going to be serving as leaders. So Laura, I'm going to
Hi everyone. I thought this was a fantastic, a little shorter, opportunity to plug the students into the community. I'm always looking to give them hands-on experience. There's a lot of education majors, and there's just a lot of students that want to help out the community. And I think connecting these kids and being role models and also teaching scouting skills would be a great opportunity for the kids and our students over at Georgian Court.
So over the course of the year, we're looking to hopefully get about 200 children involved between our elementary school programs. We also have a program through the high school that works on career awareness opportunities for young men and women. I know we work with Ms. Taylor, Tracy Taylor, on that as well too. So again, just want to take a moment to say thank you so much to the Board of Education for all your support in allowing us to help make this program possible. Thank you.
I would like to have Mrs. Carla Farfan, Student Council President, join us. Carla?
Hello, I'd like to reintroduce myself. I'm Carla Farfan. I'm a senior at Lakewood High School, and again, I'm very proud and honored to be speaking for my peers tonight. I want to start off with saying that this month is going to be, and the next one will be very excited with homecoming on the 4th, Powder Puff this Friday, and the club fair near the end of this month. There will be a lot of opportunities for our students to show their kind of pride. To commence, I want to put a spotlight on the fall sports that will end very nearly. From tennis to field hockey, cheerleading, soccer, football, and most especially volleyball. This being my last year, it has been a very special volleyball season. With my coach of 3 years being promoted to athletic director, me and my girls were filled with pride and sorrow. Pride because Mr. Correo will most definitely be the best athletic director yet, a title that he's lived up to so far, but sorrow because he won't be there to push us on the court. However, our assistant coach of 2 years has definitely done Mr. Correo justice because he pushes us and treats us like his daughter, as Mr. Correo did very well. As well as how volleyball team is thriving, our football team is thriving as well. We're very excited to announce that homecoming will be November 4th. We are very excited to see our football boys dominate the field and celebrate afterwards with our Gatsby-themed homecoming dance. To continue, I want to shine a light on the recent success of Lakewood alumni, starting with my close friend, Ruth Fiore. Ruth is an inspiration not only to me, but to my entire class. She's helped her friends select the college that's best for us. She tells us stuff that maybe our guidance counselor can't tell us because they'll scare us off about college. She's honest, and she's truly been a real friend to me. Continuing, I want to bring up a close friend of mine, Edgar Alejo, who graduated last year and is now serving as a U.S. Marine. He just left for, he just got appointed to Accolades. These alumni give us a strive to fight, and they really help us realize who we are as a student and as a person. I want to thank my friends like Ruth and like Edgar and like Ashley, people that are going to university, people that are making a difference in the world, because they inspire me, they inspire my peers, the students of Lakewood High School. And it shows that Lakewood doesn't just want their students to graduate, they want their students to thrive. Because alumni from here are people that do great things. And I want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity here.
Thank you, Carla. Okay, this month's Superintendent's Recognition Award goes to a student who's ranked in the top 3% of her class with a 4.7 weighted GPA. She has made high honor roll every marking period of a high school career and was inducted into the National Honor Society at the end of her junior year. Not only does this student shine academically, she is also an integral part of the school community. As a member of Lakewood High School's varsity volleyball team since her freshman year, she has received many accolades, including Rookie of the Year, the Pioneers Award, and the Coaches Award. She was also named the most dedicated player on the women's track and field team. Additionally, this student participates in the Television Production Club and PALS. This student will most likely be taking advantage of receiving free college tuition through Ocean County College's STAR program. Please join me in congratulating Gabriela Figueroa. If I can ask Mrs. Dina Stewart, Mrs. Rivera, and Mr. Goldstein to join me at the podium. I'm proud to introduce to you our 6th grade Lakewood Middle School student who was invited to the 2017-2018 STEM boarding school summer program in Pennsylvania. She was chosen based on her academic and leadership skills. This student was nominated by Miss Dina Stewart, her 5th grade teacher, L.G. Clark. Please join me in congratulating Catherine Tello. As you know, 2017 marks the 3rd administration of the Partnership for Assessment of Reading for College and Careers, and an opportunity to compare year-over-year results for 3 years. Students took part in English Language Arts and Literacy assessments in grades 3 through 11, and Mathematics assessments in grades 3 through 8, and end-of-course assessments in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. Part performance levels are as such. Level 1, not yet meeting grade level expectations. Level 2, partially meeting grade level expectations. Level 3, approaching grade level expectations. Level 4, meeting grade level expectations. And Level 5, exceeding grade level expectations. On that note, I'm going to introduce our first presentation, which will be made by Principal Marshall of Lakewood High School.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'd like to share our park data with you and talk a little bit about moving forward, what we'll be doing to improve our scores and continue to improve our scores. I'd like to introduce our administrative team who's here with us tonight, Mr. Doug Riley, Mr. Major England, and Mr. Owen. I added this quote just because I feel that slow and steady wins the race, and after you see our park results, you'll see we are making continuous improvement in many different areas. We're going to look at each content area quickly, and I pulled out a few highlights just to focus on. So if you look at the highlight for Algebra 1, we're decreasing in levels 1 and 2. So level 1, you did not meet the expectations. So the fact that we're decreasing in those levels and moving more towards the right is the highlight for Algebra 1. In geometry, if you look at level 4, we've increased each year consistently from 5%, 6%, and this past administration, we had 10% of our students. And I wanted to put a little perspective up there because when you see the numbers, they may seem low, but only 30% of New Jersey students met or exceeded their expectations. So we are approaching that number. So it's not like the state of New Jersey is performing 80, 90% and Lakewood is performing lower. We are right there, and I know each year we're going to continue to improve because our students work extremely hard. So do our teachers. Algebra 2, you can see level 4 again continue to increase, and only 27% of New Jersey students met expectations. I also want to add our AP Calculus numbers increased from 6 students in 2016 to 18 students, and that includes juniors and seniors. Moving to ELA, in grade 9, we added a freshman academy last year, and the data definitely shows that it was worthwhile. What a freshman academy is every student is placed in a smaller learning environment. So when they come over, if there's 300 students coming over from 8th grade, we have them in cohorts of 100 students, and they have the same 4 teachers. Those teachers and the same guidance counselor and the same administrator work very closely to provide supports. And as you can see, levels 3 and 4 increased, and level 4 increased 6%, which is huge. Grade 10, we have levels 4 and 5, meeting and exceeding expectations, both increased by 2%. And for grade 11, we kind of stood still, so what we're doing is, this is our area of focus. We have our literacy coach working closely with our juniors and our sophomores. She's with all the grade levels, however, we're focusing where the data shows us we need to perform a little bit better. Just a couple things we do during the day to make sure our teachers know what the data means. They have a daily PLC, which means the teachers meet together. In addition, the freshman academy teachers not only meet by content area, but they meet with their team and the guidance counselor, and this occurs every other day. We also have a data team established, and the district has put in place common assessments. Focusing on special ed, ELL, and our AP students, you can see we're putting in some programs to help address the specific needs of these 3 areas. And all of our resource pull-out classrooms follow our curriculum because we want those students to be treated the same and have the same opportunities. So we may do modifications, but they are given the same exact curriculum as every student in the high school. And our ELL learners, we've moved, one of the big things we did, we combined them with our English Language Arts department. So they're not 2 separate departments, they work together and do the same writing and reading tasks. And then our advanced placement students, what we're focusing on is, instead of meeting expectations, we're working to provide instruction to help them exceed the expectations. Next steps for improving our scores in 2018, we've identified a math lab for all of our incoming 9th graders that met the criteria. We worked with Mr. Goldstein and his staff over the summer to make sure these kids not only get an Algebra 1 class, but they also get a math lab class, which gives them additional interventions and instructions. For the first time ever, we did not have summer school just for students who may have failed classes. We added summer school for students who wanted to get ahead and take those advanced level math classes, and it was a very big success. We had many students taking their Algebra 2 with trig honors or their pre-cal early so they can now, junior year, take additional higher level math classes. We continue with the freshman seminar class that every single freshman has in their schedule, which will teach them study skills and prepare them for their rest of their college, high school career. And we also have implemented an after-school program to focus just on math with Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. We have 3 full-time teachers after school helping students that may be identified as struggling on a certain unit. So we don't want to wait until they fail for the year or struggle all year. We want them to stay after now and catch up. And the last thing I want to show you is with the help of our supervisor, Mr. Kevin Walters, we're videotaping our model teachers to use as a professional development opportunity. They're going to be more intense, but I asked Mr. Walters if I could share just a clip, a 30-second clip to get an idea what our teachers, because sometimes you don't want to always pay to go outside for professional development. You have your best people inside your building. So this is just a sample. So that's basically where we are. We're looking to move forward and have our scores increase, and I want to thank Mrs. Winters and the Board of Education for allowing me to speak about a school that I truly love very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Next up, we have Mr. Goldstein from Lakewood. While we wait for Mr. Goldstein to set up, I just want to let everyone know we have handouts in the back, after-school activities, clubs, and athletics for anyone who wants to take a handout. We also have a handout on all the classes for the STEAM Academy at the back table.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Winters, Board of Education, and our staff members. Many of the Lakewood Middle School staff members are actually here today. So middle school staff members, you guys please stand for us. Please stand, middle school. We have an excellent staff here at Lakewood Middle School. In fact, when we asked everyone to come out tonight so they can see how well our students are and how much better we want them to be, many of the teachers that are here, as well as others that unfortunately couldn't attend, told me that they got babysitters tonight in an effort for them to be with our family away from their family, and it is greatly appreciated. So one more time, just please give a round of applause for our fabulous staff that's here. Also in attendance tonight is our assistant principals, Ms. Ralston. Please give her a round of applause. Please stand up as well. As well as Dr. Horowitz, our other assistant principal. In putting together the data presentation for you tonight, I wanted to ask a staff member to assist us. She's been working very closely with the team at the middle school. Her name is Sherry Caravano. So Sherry, please come forward at this time. Ms. Caravano is a 5th-year mathematics teacher for 8th grade at the middle school. She's also our data coordinator at the middle school. She's very involved with data. She's currently working with me right now for her internship at Caldwell College to become an administrator. So a better way to get her involved in the school, community, as well as the other schools within our schools than how to present some of the information at the Board of Education meeting tonight. So without further ado, please give a round of applause to Sherry Caravano.
Thank you.
In looking at our data for 3 years in a row, we want to talk a little bit about some information behind the scenes. The population of our school increased from the 2014-2015 to 2016-2017 school year by 7.7%. It's the natural tendency when we're looking at these numbers to look straight across at the growth from one year to the next for a specific grade level, but we want to focus on the growth for our students from when they were in 6th grade to when they went to 8th grade. Our goal at the middle school is to prepare our students for high school and ultimately their life beyond. And what better way to show what we're doing than to show the actual growth. The students that are currently in the 9th grade, they grew from 19.2% to 19.8% passing in the ELA section of the PARC. They also grew from 12.8% to 15% passing in the mathematics section of the PARC exam. In looking at the breakout of our average scores, our general education students also showed that our average scores are growing. We are increasing for the most part in all of our categories per year for our general education. Our special education population comprised 13% of our student population in the 2015-2016 school year. Last year, the 2016-2017 special ed population made up 15% of our school. Our special ed population grew 19.8% in just these 2 years. In addition to that increase, our growth from year to year is there. And you can see this here again as I highlight the numbers that are moving forward for our students. Our bilingual students showed growth in each of these 4 categories from one year to the next. We attribute a lot of this to the fact that they have the same teacher for 3 years consistently. You can see the growth in those classrooms in some of the upcoming slides. Our honor students show similar growth, either consistent movement or an increase in numbers for each of the tests that you see up on the screen. The average score is not enough. We want to look further into our data, so we show a breakout here of the percentage of our students that are in each category. What we want to focus on in these next few slides are the 8th grade students, because we tracked their information from when they were in 6th grade to when they left us after 8th grade. The general education math scores, we saw an increase in our scores in the category of a 3, approaching expectations. They grew from 29% in 6th grade to 31% in 8th grade. We also had a passing increase from 6% when they were in 6th grade to 8% of students when they were in 8th grade. Our special education students also saw growth. We went from a 2% pass rate in 2015 to a 4% pass rate in 2017. The bilingual numbers, again, are increasing. We go from 0 students in the 2015 school year as 6th graders, none of them passed the PARC, and we improved that to 5% of students passing in 8th grade. We also saw an improvement in the students in the category of a 3 from 17% when they were in 6th grade to 29% when they were in 8th grade. Our honor students here for the mathematics exam, of the 69% of students that passed in 8th grade, that number also rose from when they were in 6th grade, scoring 57% of students passing. Our language arts scores are very similar. You're going to see similar growth for these 8th grade students as they transition from 6th grade to 8th grade. We went from a 10% passing rate to a 17% passing rate, and our students in level 3 of approaching expectations improved from 38% when they were in 6th grade to 44% when they were in 8th grade. Our special education ELA, we grew from 2% passing to 4% passing. We also grew from 12% to 19% of students scoring a 3. Another number to point out here, which I think is especially impressive, is that the students who scored a 1, when they were in 6th grade, 61% of these students on the ELA test scored a 1. This number went down when they were in 8th grade to only 37% of students. Our bilingual students, another huge jump. They were down from 80% of students scoring a 1 to just 47% for students in only 2 years. In addition, when these students were in 6th grade, none of them scored at a 3, and we improved that number in 2 years to 13% of students in this category. Of the 90% of students in 8th grade honors who passed the English exam, again, great improvement here from 73% of those students when they were in 6th grade. In looking at this data up on the board, we can compare our information to the state and the national average. On this picture, the orange and green, the triangle and circle that you see, that's our school and our district performance on the evidence statements for the park exam. The blue squares represent the state of New Jersey, and the red triangles represent the national average. What we do when we look at this information is we try to see where we need to work. The evidence statements are in order of difficulty from most difficult to least difficult. This gives us a guide for what standards we want to focus on and at what times. In looking at the 6th grade evidence statements, we're able to identify some strong standards and some weak standards for both assessments. It's important to note that when teachers work with this data in their PLC time, it's not only limited to English and math teachers. The weak standard in English happens to be a standard that applies to science and technical subjects. So teachers of all content areas are looking at this data and working with it to improve our student achievement. All these evidence statements are aligned with release items from the park. They provide sample questions from the test as well as student responses so that we can see the actual questions on the exam that were asked and how students answered them. We have access to the 2015 and 16 release items. We're still waiting for the 2017 information to be released. These are the evidence statements that we've identified for our 7th grade teachers. It's important to note that we know there's a lot of work to be done, but you need to start somewhere, and this is giving teachers a starting point for the movement for our students. One last thing to point out about these images, it's very easy to look at something like evidence statement 4 and see that none of our students answered that question correctly. But we need to look a little bit deeper because it turns out only one student in our school of the 349 had that question on their park exam. So with only one student getting it wrong, that's probably not the standard that we need to focus on. And looking further, evidence statement 7 here, every student in our school received that question on their exam, and approximately 260 students got it wrong. Those are the statements that we're trying to focus on when we're working in PLC to improve our scores. One last thing. On the math exam, this question particularly jumps out to us, not only because it shows that we're achieving beyond the state and national average, but if you look a little bit deeper, every student in our 8th grade math department had that question on the park exam. While only 20% of students getting it correct may not be our ultimate goal, we've already proven in that category, in that evidence statement, that we're performing beyond the state and national average. These are the evidence statements for 8th grade teachers. Again, these are the standards that we're working on in PLC on a daily basis to help our students improve ultimately on this exam. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Goldstein so he can go over some highlights.
Great job, by the way. So important data to highlight here is that within the students that we have in 6th grade, there are 16.4% students that were within 12 points of passing the park exam. This number was originally 10.7% in 2016. If you take a look at the 7th grade math scores, it's up from 12.8% from 9.4% in 2016 as well. In 8th grade math, it's up to 12.6% from 8.1% as well. What's important here is that all these students that I'm mentioning right now are within 12 points of passing that exam. So with that data that our teachers have, they're really trying to motivate these students and do whatever they can to ensure that they pass the expected amount of questions on the next exam. Also to point out that 70% of our Algebra 1 students already met the graduation requirements to graduate from high school in 8th grade. That's phenomenal. ELA growth from 6th grade to 8th grade is consistent by using our ELA Codex program. And important to notice here is that in order for our students to learn, we have to create a positive learning environment. In 2014-15, there were 5,000 plus infractions. Last year, disciplinary infractions were cut in half, with roughly 2,731. Now keep in mind there's roughly 1,260 students inside the middle school 6th through 8th grade. This year, as of today, there's less than 100 infractions. And I commend every single staff member here, as well as staff members that could attend, for those trends. Our New Jersey Ask Science grade 8 scores, it's important to note that 132 of our students passed the exam as being proficient, and 13 of those students had passed them with being advanced proficient. And I give a lot of kudos and credit to our science department for those numbers as well. So next steps based on our data. These are things that we focus on a daily basis in the middle school. We have many of our staff members, all of our staff members, spending daily times in PLCs. That picture on the right-hand side is actually our 6th, 7th grade English teachers that are working. They collaborate on a daily basis. They discuss data. They discuss their students. They all meet together. They have parent conferences in order to see the best ways to reach our students. We've increased and we're more consistent with using the iReady program for math and iStation program for ELA. We have additional support from the math instructional coaches that come into the school, as well as an increased math framework, and adjustments were made in order to improve instructional improvement for our staff as well as our students. We use the Lincoln Management Data System for our benchmark results and other results, so all staff members know where their students are and where they need to be. We focus on small group instruction based on iReady, iStation, and all other summative and formative assessments. As I mentioned before about our Codex program for ELA, over the summertime our bilingual teachers translated that curriculum into Spanish. So this year our Spanish students are using the Codex grade level assessments as well as the curriculum for our bilingual students. We're using instructional rounds for our teachers beginning next month, where teachers actually visit each other's classrooms and pick up best practices from one another. We have professional development that started for reading strategies, questioning techniques for all of our special education, general education populations. Our after-school academies beginning next month. We have roughly 150 students that will be enrolled in order to give them extra support for all of our teachers. The athletic teams hold a study hall after school because all of our students know that academics is number one and that sports is number two. And we try to get as many students involved in sporting activities as possible. We have a 6th grade collaboration with Lakewood Public Library to encourage independent reading for our 6th graders as well. I just want to highlight a couple of points right here to show the importance of how to get the kids involved so that they want to come to school, they want to learn, they want to increase their attendance, and in turn they want to learn. So we partnered free of charge with the public library. They come in monthly and they do STEM activities, they do Maker's Mark activities with our students, and that's a picture of it there. We have a teacher academy for our parents, where parents are starting to come in and they're starting to learn how to use technology, how to access their student grades, and they come in occasionally to meet with various staff members in order to do those things. This is a picture of some of our students in the after-school study hall. It's just like a regular classroom. They go to the front of the board, the coach helps out, our teachers assist inside the classroom, and many of our teachers stay free of charge in order to help out our students, which is commendable to what they do to help. We have a top program for some of our most struggling students inside of school, free of charge, so we reach out as well. This week we celebrate the week of violence and respect. A couple weeks ago we celebrated a week of respect. Our guidance counselors that are here tonight as well had students in auditorium time put down different thoughts, different quotes about what it means for them to be respectful, and then we hung it up inside of school, and that's a picture of it there. The Pioneer Diner was one of the things that we just initiated this year, was a 2 to 3 year program that we try to get in place. This is for our MD and autism classes. What happens here, the students create a menu, they send out the menu to staff members complete the menu, students create the meals for staff members from A to Z. We teach them about hygiene, we teach them about food safety, we teach them about the different ingredients, how to cut ingredients safely, everything in a sanitary manner. They run a restaurant from start to finish. We recently ordered aprons as well as hats for the students, but unfortunately they didn't come in yet. So hopefully they'll be here soon, and that was me being a paying customer right there because I like food. And they do a phenomenal job as well. Our greenhouse that we spoke about last year, we're briefly flourished over the summertime. Many of our staff members, our special education and gen ed students made it happen. On the bottom right-hand side, the teachers were here late one night and they made that greenhouse on the top left. And those vegetables are the vegetables that were grown over the summertime. Our ESY students from A to Z over the summertime grew the vegetables, harvested the vegetables, gave the vegetables out and made salads for our staff members that are here over the summertime. And it's contagious. It catches on. And last but not least, our technology classroom just came into fruition. On the top left-hand side, we're preparing all of our students for high school and the careers afterwards. On the top left-hand side, students are learning how to use code to have robots do different things. Top right-hand side, we're using 3D printers where our 8th grade students, and every single 8th grade student funnels into this class. It's extremely important for our 8th grade students to know that computer science is the #1 profession. Whatever we get them to be motivated in 8th grade will help Ms. Marshall and the rest of the high school crew once they all get to the high school in the STEAM Academy. The bottom is just pretty much a panoramic view of what the Facebook, Google, MySpace classroom looks like. So once again, thank you everybody for your time. Thank you, Ms. Caroline, as well.
Thank you, Mr. Goldstein and Ms. Harris.
One last thing, we want to give you guys all for the distinction members and everybody on the stage as well. This is something that we did for Kindness Week of Respect. It's our Pioneer Love Initiative that we're doing with our students from last year. We're carrying it over, and it says Beyond the Books. So each one of you guys.
At this time, I would like to have Principal Long of Cliff Family Grade School.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Deborah Long, the principal of Clifton Avenue Grade School, and Ms. Maldonado is the vice principal. She was unable to make it this evening. I also want to thank Ms. McFarland, my ESL teacher who helped me create the PowerPoint. She's also interning as an administrator as well. Okay, so first I was just going to look at a couple of the overall trends for the last 3 years. In both ELA and math, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades increased the percentage of students who met or exceeded the expectations. In ELA and math, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades decreased the percentage of students who did not meet expectations. And then what I really wanted to point out was the 5th grade was they had the most percentage growth in both ELA and math. They were closest to the state average, and they had the greatest amount of students who had exceeded the expectations. Okay, the next couple slides are just some comparisons over for this year and then for a 3-year cohort. So what you'll notice is that the cohort from 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you'll see an increase in their scores. This was this year's average for ELA. You'll notice the 5th grade is pretty near to what the state average is, which is in the blue. And here's for the math. As you can see, the math was not as strong as the language arts. And then here's for our 3-year for language arts. Here's the 3-year for the math. Okay, and then here's the, moving forward, our next steps, how we're going to try to get even closer to the state average. The top part I have is all of our staff development to grow our teachers, the sheltered English instruction for our English learners, higher order thinking questions, dyslexia, closed reading, literacy, special ed. Those are all professional development that the teachers have in school during the day. And then the Sunday system is a new phonics program that we are implementing. A teacher that was hired 2 years ago came into the district she was actually from Camden. She had, I guess I'm going to say mastered this program at her school, brought it with her. We're using her as an expert in our district, and she's helping to implement that into our schools. It's a great phonics program, and it's been working very well even with our older students who are struggling with the phonics. And then we have the district and math literacy coaches who are a huge help, especially with our new hires, even just coming into the classroom and doing model lessons for them. And then we have our data team who meets twice a month to go over the data that we have, which data, can be a comprehensive word, but they're able to break it down for the teachers to be able to look at it and make meaning of it. And then also the Chromebooks, last year, and I want to say March, we were able to go one-to-one so that each student has their own Chromebook assigned to them in the classroom, and they're being utilized every single day. So I'm curious to see this year, when we've now had a full year of implementation of the one-to-one, to see what the difference is now that they've had more practice even using the tools. And then also, I didn't have it up there, but we have a student achievement where the students, each teacher is going to pick a student each month that is recognized for some type of student growth in their classroom. And we have a special bulletin board in the school that they're going to be acknowledged. I spoke to the parents about it at back to school night, so that they're able to come into the school and look for this bulletin board with the picture of their child, and their child being recognized for their growth, no matter what the growth is. And then we have our OWLS after-school program for ELA and math, 3 days a week, targeting 3rd and 5th grade students. We're going to mostly try to target our 3rd grade students on that cusp of meeting or exceeding the on the part. And then finally, this was our first year of implementing the School Violence Awareness Week, Peace Week. Just as you all know, as much as it is important, the academic, the culture, and the climate is also important to feed the students' minds. So we started off the week with peace. We had a circle of peace, we called it. We all went outside, we all wore white. We circled around our school by the flag. We said the Pledge of Allegiance, had a moment of silence, and made a wish of peace. And then on Friday, we're going to get to wear tie-dye and peace signs. So thank you for having me tonight.
Now introduce Principal Rivera of the LJ Clark School.
Good evening, Lakewood Board, Superintendent Winters, and of course, all of our champion educators and administrators that help make this a great place to learn, to work, and to be. So thank you all for this evening. And our theme every year, we come up with a theme to really push our vision forward, to continue to cultivate the champions of tomorrow today. So our theme this year is we are champion to the core, which means we're committed to reaching excellence in everything that we do. So there's a quote, and it's an unknown author, but the quote is, "There is no elevator to success, you have to take the stairs." And so the data will convey that we are making slow but steady gains, and we are celebrating each and every one of those gains along the way, which then incites motivation and continue to work hard and do that collaboratively. And then change is a process, it is not an event. So we keep that in mind as we're looking at the data. So this is our PARCC scores, and these are really oranges to apples. These are different groups of students, different needs, different class sizes, and in some cases maybe even different teachers. But what I want to point attention to, the first delineation up front means did not meet. And as you can see, the black is 14-15, the red is 15-16, and the purple is 16-17. So in 3rd grade, we start out with 40% in that category, we reduced that to 31%. But I want to go over to 5th grade where we start out with 13%. We start out pretty low and we reduce that to 4%. So we really are reducing the kids in that category. And then if we come down to domain 4, which is the med expectation, that's where we want our students to be. There is a stagnation in 3rd grade. We can see 10%, 10%, 10% in ELA, and that is our area of focus this year. We really cultivating literacy. We've redone our reading centers, new carpets, new rugs, just making it a cool place to hang out, having literacy lounge in every classroom. We gave $1,000 per teacher to spruce up their libraries within their classroom, more selections, more diverse literature, engaging to low-level readers. So we're really trying to foster a love of learning. All of our 5th grade teachers went on a field trip to the Lakewood Library. Our kids got library cards. I'm reminding every day to return the library things that they borrow because they must be responsible champions. But if we look over to the 5th grade, as Ms. Long points out, we are seeing the most significant growth by the time our children reach 5th grade. So our fifth graders in 14, 15, 12% were proficient in language arts, met the expectation. In 15, 16, 32% were proficient. And now in 16, 17, 40% are proficient. And we're going to bust 50% this year. I just want you to understand that. Now, this is a picture of apples to apples. These are the same children, same group, same cohort, and I just only go into met expectation. The kids start out in third grade, 10% proficient. By fourth grade in language arts, those same students are now 23% proficient. They left us as fifth graders 40% proficient. So we look at that cohort from third grade to fifth grade, they grew 30%. And that's a big deal. Big deal. Because the greatest gift that we can give our children is the gift of reading. It will unlock so many doors for them. This is our math data. Same thing. We're reducing the number of students that are in delineation 1 and 2. That's where we want to see the reduction. Now in the met expectation, we're seeing progress from the 3 years span. You can see the black, which is the first year, to the purple. There is increase at every grade level. Again, the most significant increase being in fifth grade. So we really are looking at ways to really expedite that growth at the lower grades. And I think some of our phonics-based programs will help really unlock some of the literacy skills that are lacking. Now looking at the cohort apples to apples, as third graders, they were 12% proficient in mathematics. As fourth graders, 17% proficient. And then by fifth grade, 28% of those students were proficient. Now, if we look at how we measure to the state, I really just highlighted our fifth graders because this is the average score in language arts and math. Our average score in fifth grade was 741. The average across the state was 743. And the average within the state is 755. So we are really close in terms of our average score in language arts. Yeah, that's important. And then in mathematics, the same trend is that fifth grade trend. So 733 is our average score. Across the state is 737, but within our state is 747. But the gap is closing by the time we reach fifth grade. So we want to figure out how we can expedite that. In a champion mindset, really we just do ordinary things extraordinarily well. We work tirelessly to hone our craft and our skills. We refuse to be distracted by what happens in the headlines or the sidelines. We're going for the goal no matter what. And I hope we all have that mindset. And we really leverage one another's strengths because this is a work that we cannot do alone. And how we're getting close to the goal, we're going for the goal, but we will only get there together. Our stairway to success, we have bi-monthly 2-hour after-school PLCs, ELA and mathematics, extended day tutoring programs for grades 3 through 5, monthly instructional team meetings, data team meetings, frequent celebration of growth and achievement. We had a We Walk the Park celebration at night where we acknowledge the students and their parents. During the day, we acknowledge the teachers for their students that were able to pass the park. So we take the time to celebrate the kids that are doing the right things. We have daily use of instructional software to remediate and enrich students at all preparedness levels. And that's iStation and iReady, iStation Literacy, iReady Mathematics. We have integrated technology throughout the curriculum. We have daily grade level common planning time. We have bi-weekly administrative communication called the Champion Chat, which continues to make sure the vision is before the people. The vision has to remain before the people. And then we have an annual professional literature provided to the staff to hone and refine practice. Because as practitioners, we must stay at the cutting edge of what we do. And then I leave you with this quote: we only get one chance to prepare children for a world none of us can possibly predict. What are we going to do with that choice? At the School of Champions, we are going to cultivate tomorrow's champions today. Thank you.
Isn't the building principal a Lakewood graduate?
She sure is. Okay, next we have Ms. Principal Schroeder, who will now present for Oak Street School.
Thank you, Ms. Winters. Thank you, board members, for the opportunity to share some of our data. I know we've been here for quite some time. It's almost 9 o'clock. But if you would just bear with me, I will be brief. And, but I think some of what has been shared and what I'm going to try and summarize here is important not only for Oak Street, but for the district as a whole. What I've done is put the data in a context of what's happening nationally, national trends, statewide trends, district, and then Oak. So if you look down the left-hand column there, it is the number 2 line, Park Language Arts. That's on a national average what has happened 2015, 2016, 2017. 736, 738, and 738 was the national average. You go down one line, it's 743, 746, and 749. Go down to the bottom, and you'll see the Oak average. And what I want to highlight here is if you look at the top of the gap, 736 in 215, drop to the bottom there, 708. So in year 1, there was a 28-point gap between the national average and our average. There was a 28-point gap. In year 3, so Park has only been in play for 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17. So we're developing this longitudinal data to see what kind of, if in fact you are closing the gap. When you look at year 1, you have a 28-point gap. In year 3, you have a 19-point gap in language arts. Jim, if you would, so it's going to be every other tab, Jim. Yes. So there you go, same setup with math. You have the Park national average. In year 1, it was a 22-point gap. In year 3, if you go all the way over to the D column, it is a 14-point gap. Now, so what that simply means is we are narrowing the gap, both Oak Street School and the district as a whole. It's very important to see that because what's happening in Lakewood isn't happening nationally. That's, I guess, my point. This isn't something that's happening across the country, that the gap is narrowing. Let's go to 4th grade. 4th grade language arts. So it's grade 4 DLA. It's always your left. Yes, the one. Don't make me come over here. So this is grade 4 language arts. And I'll just cut to the chase. Year 1 is a 22-point gap. Year 3, it's narrowed down to an 8-point gap in language arts. Very significant. Jim, skip 1 and let me just tell you what it is. Year 1 for mathematics, language arts, grade 4 math, there was an 18-point gap in 2015. 2017, a 5-point gap. That is significant growth. And again, I'm talking about both the district as a whole and but Oak Street as well. Language arts in 5th grade. Year 1, there was a 23-point gap. Year 3, 2 years later, a 4-point gap between the Oak Street average and the national average. And our math scores, I'll end with this. Year 1, there was a 17-point gap between the national Park average and the Oak Street average for 5th grade. Year 3, we are exceeding the national average by 1 point. So we're creating our own gap, but only on the other side. Okay, we're working on the other side of that. So we're extremely proud of our teachers. As any educator would tell you, there's no magic bullet, there's no magic wand. It's just getting in the trenches day in and day out, hard work. And that's what we have. We have some great people. I appreciate all the hard work of the board. And we'll continue to do so. Again, thank you for the opportunity to share and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Schroeder.
At
This time I'd like to move out the spots here with the recognition of the public. I remind everybody that there's 3 minutes. I will remind you of the 30 seconds left. The first person is Roland Taylor.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to approach
Could you
a
please-
different agenda. And it's, my child was assaulted in the Lakewood High School. I'm not pleased with it. I want to know, I have a few questions and I need answers, and I want answers as quickly as you possibly can get it to me. I want to know, where's your security in the school? Where's Stillwell? Okay, is he here? No, I don't see him. Okay, I want to know, how come all these fights are going on in the school? How come where are the cameras? You have a $1 million security system here. How are these kids being able to walk the halls and attack each other? I'm here for all the children. I'm a concerned parent. My child was assaulted. She could have got physically hurt. The other girl could have got hurt. It was on a stairwell, okay? It's a possibility she could have, they said you can't call the cops, security has to call the cops. Why? But if she would have physically hurt the girl, you wouldn't call the cops. I went to Lakewood Police Department, I showed them the video. I don't know why the school doesn't have the video, the security doesn't have the video, but I have them. Kids sent it to me. I went on a mission because I want to find out. And this is not just concerning her, it's concerning all children that are being attacked. This is in groups. Teachers have to teach. They don't have time to break up fights. That's why you got security. But where are they at? I want to know, and I need to know. And I'm on a mission to find out, and I'm going to continue to be on this mission. Because it's not just for my child, it's for all children that's concerned here. These, you know what I'm saying? I see the presentations they did tonight, which are excellent, and I commend them all. My niece was sent into high school on a mission to continue to learn. That's how she left Lakewood Middle School, and I commend her principal and all the staff. Okay, in order for her to do this, you have to allow, I want to know where the security, can anyone of y'all answer me that? No, but I need answers, and I want answers. I'm not done. I'm not done with it. Because I could be sitting by her hospital bed the way the fight went on. I could be holding her hand, hoping she gets better. The other young lady could be the same way. Her parent could be there. Enough is enough with this. In order for these kids to focus on their education, you gotta get your security involved. What are they getting paid for? They're standing there. I did a little investigation. Most of them, or the majority of them are retired police officers. How come they can't see this? If I can see it, they should be able to see it. And I want some answers. And I want them soon. My address, if you need to reach me, you can reach me. My name is there. If you need my phone number, you can reach out to one of the principals or one of the educators and you can reach me. And we can continue this because I'm not done.
I'd just like to make one comment that the principals have to give me an incident report every day and anything that occurs in the building. I did actually today, I compiled all the incident reports, and there in the entire district there are 8 schools. There was 1 fight in the entire district since the beginning of school.
You said 1?
1. On October.
That's not true. That's not true. I got 2 videos. If I have the videos, if the kids can show me the videos, how come your security don't have it? That's not true.
Security cameras were out on that day.
Ooh! What about the other fight? They were out on that day too as well?
I can only tell you what's reported to me.
Okay, that's what's reported to you, but okay.
By the building principals.
Very dangerous for a lockdown situation.
Could somebody reach out to the parent and get more information if there's something we don't know?
If I give you the information, are you going to do something with it? Because like I said, I'm not done. Because I'm here not on my child's behalf, I'm here on all the children's behalf. Somebody is going to get seriously hurt, and then you're going to want to do something about it.
Through the chair.
It's not working.
Through the chair.
What the
aunt raises, if I understand the relationship, Mrs. Taylor.
Yes.
It could be a possible liability issue. I'm only here as a lawyer, nothing more.
Okay.
So we need to review the situation.
Sure.
Mom, aunt, said she
Yeah, I'm her
had-
aunt, I'm her guardian. So
Okay,
my
I'm
mother
sorry.
for the
I
last
thought you said
15
aunt, I'm
years.
sorry.
I'm her aunt.
Okay,
and I'm
the
her-
guardian of the child
Mhm.
says she has videos.
No, I haven't. I went on a search. I
No,
went on a hunt.
let me get here.
Go ahead.
If you could provide those videos, since this is a possible liability issue, if you could provide those videos to Ms. Winters,
Yes.
so she can have those. L. Winters at Lakewood. I don't know. Again, I'm not a technology. I didn't have.
Me neither as well, but I can get it done now.
But as a liability issue, if you could provide, I guess you could email them, or however, we can get them to Ms. Winters right away.
Sure, no problem.
And then we could review this because, again, as lawyer and lawyer only, if I heard you correctly, you're basing your data on what's reported to you. Well, we know at least there was one fight because this young lady had her child involved. So if she has other recordings or tapes or whatever the word is, I don't know, but we should get those to Ms. Winters immediately, if you could. So she can start looking, because I heard tonight a lot about data, but no disrespect, but if one fight in the entire district since school started.
That is what was reported to me, correct.
All right, so we, as a liability issue, we need to review that. If you would, please get
Sure.
that. as soon as
I'll
possible.
get them to you. Just give me your email or whatever and I'll.
lwinters@lakewoodponders.org.
My secretary can write that.
And if you wouldn't mind, as a liability issue which involves law, Michael at pinersprideisback.com, if you wouldn't mind. Just because it could be a liability issue.
No, I just want to correct you, excuse me, Mr. Superintendent. There was not just one fight, there was not just two fights, there was a whole lot of fights. Okay? If the children, I'm just going to say one last thing, if the children, if the students have the time to film this, where is the security at? How are they walking in the school, 20 and 30 kids, filming a fight? How are they even getting that far? They shouldn't even be in the hallways like this. I went to school, we didn't have no modern technology like they have today. We wasn't even allowed in the hallway.
Exactly.
I ain't had no door.
Okay, Kevin.
Next on the list is Pastor Glenn Wilson.
I just want to follow up on this. I think this gives us an opportunity to review the policy. It is my understanding that there is a gap of time between the incident and when the administrators can actually review the incident. Is that right? That the actual administrators cannot see the tapes until security provide the tape.
They can see the tape whenever they go into the security office and view the tape, or they can do them on the iPads. They can view them whenever they get up and go to the security office.
Okay, because, if we could give the administrators immediate access to that information, then they can provide discipline immediately, and not like in this particular incident, there seems to be a lot of misinformation. And maybe it is also time for us to review our security team. Because, in your information, it's only one fight, but we know that there's been many more fights.
Pastor Wilson, administrators report fights. They do the write-ups.
Okay.
I'm sitting here again as lawyer only, but Pastor Wilson is saying, and so is the guardian. Don't we have the high school administrator? Mr. Riley, you're here too. Could you, if you would, and Marcy, you're here. What are we missing here? There's a report of one fight. Ms. Winters, well, I don't know. The public has, again, I'm just speaking from a legal perspective, Ms. Winters gets reports from administrators. You are the administrator. Is there a disconnect?
I can't speak for Mrs. Winters, but I personally provided one report for a serious fight. There's a protocol for reporting an incident to the superintendent has to rise to certain levels. Unfortunately, Ms. Taylor's daughter was in a fight that was more severe. I am not, one of the vice principals may want to speak a little more. I know of another fight that occurred in the classroom, which was more of a skirm, it got broken up.
Is there, just for a legal basis, I don't want to, is there criteria in writing, how we report, what level you're using skirmish as opposed, they're having skirmishes in Ukraine currently?
Well, the problem is that Mrs. Winters would run real time, you'd see the fights in real time. So there are more fights reported, but the level that's reported to Mrs. Winters in a separate incident report has a certain criteria.
So there is written criteria?
Yes. So if you ran real time, which is our student management system, we are reporting fights. They're in there. There's more than one in there.
But would you concur, again, I just want to get it from a legal perspective. There is criteria, yes or no?
Yes.
And there's no, okay, well, we need to look at this.
I have it in writing.
Okay, guess what? I'm really trying.
I know you're trying, but I just want to know, my daughter was not the aggressor, okay? I want to know, why do you have the criteria? And I know it's nothing to do with you, it's the way regulations are, and I don't blame you, I commend you because you're there. She got 4 days suspension, and so did the girl that assaulted her got 4 days. How was that possible? She shouldn't have got nothing. She
Well,
protected
obviously,
herself.
and you appreciate this under FERPA, even though you're the guardian, we can't discuss that publicly, but it is definitely something that should be looked at. I just want to know because it seems to be less than clear. So let me get this right. There's criteria, it's in writing, and you follow that criteria. Okay. So we can all agree, whether you call it a fight or skirmish, there has been more than one physical contact, but there's criteria you utilize, how you report it, right?
Everything's reported in our student management system, which those numbers will be higher than one fight. There is a criteria for reporting incidents to the superintendent. Those are separate. That's the one incident I had to report separately.
Based on the written criteria?
Correct.
Okay.
And Ms. Marshall, those students are disciplined as well. They are disciplined, so when those fights have taken place, they were disciplined and they are in real time. And they're in real time as well.
Correct.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
You got it.
Sure. Is there a protocol when cameras are not working? Do they call in additional security? Is there a protocol for that?
They weren't recording for a few days.
Is there a notice put out? Like this, the metal detectors aren't working. Is there a notice put out?
I don't really understand what was wrong with cameras. There's that
Let me just get for liability purposes, so when cameras don't work, which I'm not a technology major, but for understanding liability, when they don't work, do the administrators know they're not working, or how do we alert whomever is running the building? Do we do that? Is there a way we can look into this? I'm sure there is a way we can look into this as your attorney tonight. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Michelle Jackson.
Security, he's still well here, so he can answer. He has control over it.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going with what's being talked about here. Ms. Winters, if I heard you correct, did you say it's on the principal? I can't let you blame them when there's a protocol that you're telling them that they have to follow. I'm not sure, but I've been out of town for a month, so I apologize.
Welcome back, Michelle.
Thank you, thank you. I don't think what everybody understands is we're sending our hearts that beat outside of us to you every single day. These are our hearts. So this woman's niece was assaulted. For you to say there's only one, I've been back less than 2 weeks and I have 3. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. They're not that hard to find in an internet search these days. It would be great if Mr. Stillwell was here so we could ask him questions, but I guess this wasn't important enough for him to show up. I want to know who's in charge of security when the school is in session. I would like to know, is the security mobile? How many security guards do we have in the high school? Why weren't the cops called? One of these fights, this little girl was getting her head beat into the ground. Why weren't the cops called? Immediately. Immediately. And how did you guys not see this? I mean, I'm back less than 2 weeks. A simple internet search, my daughter comes home and tells me about a fight. 10 minutes later, I got it on my phone. How do y'all not have this? These are our heartbeats. These are our lives we're trusting you with. And the questions are not going to get any easier. None. I don't think anybody here would tolerate this in your child's respective schools. These are our lives. These are the reasons we wake up every morning. We send them to you, trusting they will be safe. Where the hell is security in these schools? One of these videos is over 20 seconds long. Even with my back busted, I can get up those steps in 20 seconds. Where is security? These are our heartbeats. These are not numbers. I know they all have student ID numbers. They're not. These are our heartbeats. Where's Stillwell? Why is it protocol? Can we just... Can we get Miss Marshall to can you all give her permission tonight to move security around to high-tense areas without having to go through some ridiculous protocol and file a form? These kids don't have time for these forms. These are our lives. Can we get an approval by the board tonight to give this woman permission to do her damn job? Let her do her job. Give her permission to move security as she sees fit, not as Stillwell sees fit. We don't give a damn what he wants. Give this woman the opportunity to protect our children. Because if this keeps happening, you're not going to be happy, I promise.
There's a lot of legal issues here.
There are quite a few, and we, with the board's permission, we will do a liability and legal analysis of the situation, if we could.
Please.
Next is Fred Rush. Dr. Rush.
You know, first of all, Mike Rush, 1502 Malibu Drive. As Ms. Jackson was talking, I'm looking at board members. I'm looking at you shaking your heads. You know, some in disgust, some not knowing exactly what's going on. But it's a terrible crisis. When there's a crisis, we don't act, things happen. Okay, I was in another district last night, a Board of Education meeting, because they had a crisis, not like this one, but they had a crisis, nothing happened as a result. It went viral. When things began to happen, things are still happening in that district where I visited last night. What Ms. Jackson, what Pastor Grant, what all of us are saying is to give building administrators control of their buildings. Yes. That's what a building principal is. He or she is in control, which means she has or he has to decide where security is, where they're stationed, not bunched up in one office, not watching the kids. So, board members, please make this happen. Because something may happen terrible. I saw the fight. I have 2 fights on my cell phone. 2 fights. The last couple of weeks. The little girl was fighting, she was part of my Omega program. She was attacked. And because Ms. Marshall, I'm assuming, did not see the aggressor, then protocol says I have to give both kids the same thing, which is 4 days. But I feel that she had seen the aggressor, where the other girl was doing what she had to do, and the other child came up to her and punched her first. Then the little girl got the best of her on the ground, which frightened me because I said, oh my God. We are lucky that those children did not get hurt. So what I'm asking you is, as Ms. Jackson said, tonight, because tomorrow school will open at 7 o'clock or whatever, you never know what's going to happen. But if they hear something, she has to be able to move security where things may happen. And they can't sit down, 3 of them. I visit the school periodically, and I see 3 at the door, 3 security sitting at the door. 1 sitting, 2 talking. And unfortunately, I need more than 3 minutes because I hadn't planned to speak on this, but this is very, very serious. So again, please give permission for that to happen. And if somebody has to deal with Mr. Stillwell, say he is not doing his job, then that has to happen. Because we're talking about our children's safety first. Now let me digress. I want to commend the building administrators for their presentations. I know how difficult it is to change things, to make a difference. So the fact that they reported on progress, and some of us may think 1, 2, 3% is minute. But what we're talking about, they're making gains. The districts in this state will be regressing, or digressing, whatever you want to call it. But they are making gains. But they need more support from the administration, central office. They need support to make the change. As one of the people said, it takes 5 years to see positive growth. 5 years. And I commend them because I see growth each year. I deliberately came in tonight to see the presentations. I was here last year to see the presentations, and I was here the year before to see the presentations. So yes, progress is being made. And don't look at the small progress. Look at the overall picture of where we are, what we've gone through, and commend the administration, commend those principals for working their butts off to make a difference in the lives of kids. As we said. Now, let me specifically talk about the middle school for 1 second. In the middle school, you have class sizes of up to 36 kids. I don't care how many teachers you have in the classroom. You cannot educate kids appropriately with 36 kids in a class. In a small class, and those middle schools are built with classes for, I don't know what the size of the classroom, but a small classroom. So something has to happen. If we got to do a referendum to get another building or get something, something has to happen because it's unfair. The kids cannot go to high school and be ready if it's 36 in the class. So Board of Education, Superintendent, look into that. Commend the middle school principal because he's working under those kinds of circumstances. It's not fair.
Thank
not
you
very much.
Thank you. Time's expired.
The fight, thank you. I'm leaving now. I just wanted to commend a young lady, Ruth, who was a product of our district. And we have to thank those students that excel coming from Lakewood. So what I'm suggesting to the superintendent, whenever you see kids, our kids, on that kind of path, bring them back often. And let them go to the schools. I don't know if he's traveling to the school, but let them go to the school, walk around the school, and let the kids know that it's possible. Thank you.
That concludes the recognition of the public. At this time, I'd like to take care of the minutes, the public board minutes on August 30th, 2017, and the public board meeting on September 25th, 2017. Can I get a motion? I'm going to do these together.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Lackett.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson Byers.
Yes.
Mr. Newhouse. Mr. Racing.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Tendler.
Yes.
Mr. Tresher.
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Bender.
Yes.
At this time, I have some corrections to the agenda. I also have one read-in that has to do with the additions on the agenda. The read in is in item number N, on the additions there, it's the cost of the buses is $493,297, cost approximately $50,000 in addition.
What page is that on the
It's on
agenda?
page number 1 of the additions to the body of the agenda.
And the letter is?
It is letter number N.
And this is regarding, can you say that again?
It's for the purchase and finance, the lease finance of 6 buses. There's 4 54 passenger and 2 24. The cost is $493,297 plus $50,000 in additions for child safety restraints and air conditioning on the buses. That is the business administrator section.
I will make a motion to add the corrections and the additions except item N, which in my motion, I want to table it and await some sort of financial analysis on the buses that we have already purchased to see if it's economical and also get some explanation. We did receive an explanation today that we're purchasing them because of spare buses, but there's a ratio of spare buses to operating buses, and it seems like if we have 35 buses and we're getting 6 spares, this ratio is a little bit too high. So we want to know further clarification about why we're purchasing buses and to see some sort of financial analysis on what we have already purchased, as districts usually move away from in-house busing to private, and we somehow moving back to in-house, which is fine as long as it's financially justified. But
Second.
Discussion?
During the time that we came out of closed session and some time here, I had a chance to talk with our Lisa Vargas, our transportation supervisor, and answer some of the questions. Currently, 22 24-passenger buses, 7 caravans, and 31 54-passenger buses. There is currently 1 spare for the 24-passenger, and there are no spares for 31 passengers. The purpose of buying the buses will be two 24-passenger buses. One will be used as a spare, so it will become 2 spares, and the second one is going to be used as a spare until such time as anticipated preschool growth, because there's a rolling enrollment in preschool as they achieve age 4 and they enroll in the district, so your number in October is much lower than your number in April and May, so that bus will be used for the expanding preschool growth that we know will happen. As far as the 54 passengers, 3 of those buses are going to be used for spares, and the 4th bus is going to be used to split routes. Lisa Vargas also informed me that there's so much more work that needs to be done that even keeping those 3 spares, the spares may be hard to do for the entire school year.
I'm all for purchasing. Let's purchase 1,000 buses, almost financially justified. I would like to see some numbers on the buses that we have purchased so far. I've been here, and we have it in the notes, asking for a long time to see the numbers, and every time we purchase buses, I've been told that the numbers are coming. It's been the case a year and a half ago, and I've been asking the same questions, and I will only get projections, so I respect the suggestions, I just want to see the numbers. If the numbers are what we have purchased so far, and again, there is a growth, but the question is who should be providing the services for that growth, and it's justified that the district should, let's go ahead and do it, but let's just see some numbers. You know, when we are at the point where we're making more purchases, let's see some numbers, because we have buses, our buses on the street for a long time, let's see some numbers. How much money is it costing us? And if we're saving money or spending more money, sometimes there's a need to spend more money because there's just lack of buses in the private sector. So, but the board, I believe, before making such a $500,000 purchase, should see some numbers at this point after multiple purchases and not seeing the numbers. That's all my point is. So, if we could have a transportation committee meeting and get those numbers, review those numbers, and then make a decision. I don't think we've been waiting for so long. I don't think another couple of weeks would make a big difference.
But don't we need these now? Don't we need these buses now? So a couple of weeks, this is going to make a difference. We need this now. We need a couple of weeks.
My question, board approve these purchases with the provision that the business office does provide an analysis to you in the next 30 days.
This is on tape, we've done this. I was promised numbers multiple times, and I never received the numbers. I only received some projections.
Numbers wouldn't have been available until July or August of the summer.
I understand, but I have not received those. I'm just saying, last time we purchased 35 buses, I asked the same question, and I have not received any numbers. So at this point, let's get the numbers, because it doesn't, and then we'll make a decision. Right now, every child is being transported. We have brand new buses. The buses are not breaking down. They won't have an inspection. I understand fully the reason why we spare buses. This is not an emergency, okay? This is not an emergency. So if it's not an emergency, you could wait a few weeks to make the purchase.
What do you mean by it's not an emergency?
It's not an emergency means that we have the children who need to be transported. Are being transported. Our fleet is brand new. Our fleet is brand new.
But still.
We do have one spare.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not an emergency.
I think if it's going here, I think we need to do it. It's an emergency. If I think,
I'm not disagreeing that whether I'm not saying either way. I'm just saying the board should look at the numbers at this point.
Through the chair.
And if we need more buses, purchase 100 buses as long as it's justified.
I can just state from a legal position that on Labor Day, I do remember having a phone conference with Ms. Winters, Mr. Shafter, Mr. Gus, Kakavakis, and Ms. Vargas. It was Lakewood. And we were, from what I was told, we were short and for the charter school. And I'm remembering that conversation. I'm not here to say it was a blame, that's another day. But the fact is we were short buses. I remember this discussion. I was in the Academically station for an hour and a half listening to it. And by chance, we understood that there was a charter. And we have to bus those kids. I'm not going to get into it. That's my legal opinion. That's the law. What you're asking for, it makes sense to get an economic feasibility to see, I assume, which I asked Ms. Winters, and I know Ms. Vargas is working on it, the capacity, how many hours the drivers are working, because, again, we heard in the past, from the public that they were not being fully utilized drivers, etc. That report should be close to being completed as far as the utility of the drivers, are they working their full time and all that. I wasn't here, but I was there asking questions, and I know I refreshed Ms. Winters from a legal perspective, and I know Ms. Vargas, who was here, and just shaking her head, and she has thoughts. So it won't be that hard if it's done to get it to the board members immediately to show that the utility of the buses and the drivers are working full time. As far as, and again, I'm bad at math, even though I am a proud graduate, but you're asking, so I'm going to get this right, is it feasible to do it in-house as opposed to, I'll use the word outhouse, which is probably inappropriate, but I'm sure someone looked at that here. I don't know what the hell.
The question is, these buses are performing, doing certain routes.
Right.
And what I ask many times is not only to see how long the bus drivers are driving these buses, but also to see how much those routes, specific routes, have cost us in the past. So
do a comparison between third-party vendors and we'll do it ourselves. That shouldn't be that difficult. I'm not a business person. It ain't in my job description.
And I know the managers are also very interested in seeing those numbers, right? But
I'm sure they are. And how quickly can you have Mr. Campbell and staff? Nothing like being put on the spot.
I have to check with Ms. Vargas for the information.
Ms. Vargas, you're here. How are you this evening?
Hi.
I know you're new here. Welcome.
Thank you.
But can you not provide the board with, again, the comparison between when the contracts are a matter of record, you just gotta look them up.
Exactly.
Here's round ST5, I don't know, and here's what it costs us now. Can you, I assume, rapidly, quickly, correctly do that comparison?
Yes.
Good. So would a week be enough time for you? Now that you have offered yourself on the altar?
Yes, it's DRTRS time.
Okay, that makes sense, which is the report which needs to be...
So if you could give me till Monday or Tuesday?
How about we give you, see, this is where we go wrong. Why don't we just say till Halloween, that would be appropriate.
Halloween.
Right, because then when it's not here, they will write email. So why do you say October 31st? Do you understand what's being requested?
You want to know if it's feasible in-house or more feasible to...
What we want, or what Mr. Zlack is, apples to apple. How much did the route cost when it went to a third party? Is that possible to do?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, if...
We have that level of detail.
Good. Mr. Shafter, who has been here for some time and has much educational and financial experience, says it's possible. Good. We now
So we want to see that apple-to-apple comparison. We want to see, obviously, all the costs that go into the employee costs, the service costs, and then just apple-to-apple comparisons of how much is it costing us to do those routes, basically.
You're only going to be able to get each route and not tiered routes. We tier the routes. I don't know what the contract is tiered with.
We're talking about tier. We're talking about what I want to see is the cost of the bus a year, the cost of the driver, the cost of all the benefits and everything, and then which route each bus does. Let's say one bus does, let's say, tiered routes. So what you do is you look at those routes that he does, and look, let's say 3 years ago when the bus was not doing those routes, how much did we pay for those routes? And this way you'll be able to see. This bus is servicing 6 routes every day, right? This is the cost of servicing this 6 routes in-house, and this is how much we paid for this 6 routes in the past.
Okay, but the past is less than CPI and less a lot of factors, but I mean, I'll give you numbers.
The CPI do not go up. Those could be adjusted. I'm just saying, we have those hard numbers and it's easy analysis to do. That's all we want. All right, so we have a motion on the floor. So we're going to have a vote, please.
What we're reviewing, so you know what's being reviewed here, because the interim business administrator doing his job with the monitors want to make sure that the interest rate is available for this review, because you don't want to pay a higher interest. That you need more buses, and again, I'm not in business and I don't want to be, is clear. I will just tell you again what happened Labor Day. But it appears in something that the interest rate is available till November 17th. The question now
So
is...
we'll make another decision.
Well, when is your next board meeting? November 15th. So, Mr. Zlakin, in speaking with the monitor and reading the information, the interest rate is not the issue, just they have to make sure the buses are available. So, Mr. Campbell, can you do that? Is that okay? Yeah.
So right now, and I'm willing to additionally let this go through. Right now, we know that the order of buses tomorrow is in time for the next construction schedule, and they'll be available in December. We have to see what the latest point we can order the buses for and still have them available at the end of December.
Which if we need, we could have a special meeting, not that I'm encouraging that, because we have no need if not. But we now hear Ms. Vargas saying she can get it to you by Monday, which we cautioned her, because I'm sure you will read this information and not on Monday, and that will lead to unnecessary email exchanges. So, Mrs. Vargas, if you, the quicker you can, with the help of Mr. Kevin and Monitor, but they're going to, it's conditional, just so you heard those words, because there needs to be buses. You can have the same rate and have no buses. So, what I understand from a legal perspective is your motion is to table this letter N, if I'm getting it right, and the monitor, if I understand correct, is conditionally agreeing with you, provided it doesn't affect the ability to get the buses. Am I doing
Right,
it?
I don't want to put it off for a few weeks, and then find out we can't get the buses now until the end of February.
The report should be at the October.
Well, no, they have to make sure there's buses, so why
Our
don't
buses.
So they're going to call the vendor tomorrow. They're going to say, if we wait until, say, November 15th to order the buses, would we still be able to have those buses December 30th?
There are very few buses being bought throughout the year, just.
But again, you're not a busing expert, and we'll get the information, and if need be, if we have to have a meeting earlier, we could do that, correct? So let's get the information. Ms. Vargas, thank you for putting yourself on the altar. Let's please get it as soon as we can. Mr. Campbell, for Ms. Winter.
And I just want to say one more time, what I would like to see is, I think all of us, is which routes a certain bus services, let's say a bus services 7-8 routes a day, right? What is the cost of this bus, employees, all the cost servicing and everything, and how much we paid for those specific 8 routes in the past, which is very easy to find out. Apples to apples.
With that being said, the board will be notified by no later than Friday through Ms. Winter's office. She will get the information from Mr. Campbell about the availability of buses. If there's an earlier date, you will know that, and then we can schedule an appropriate meeting. Ms. Vargas has said she can get the information. She really should be focusing on the DRTRS report right now, but again, we will get you that information, and then based on the call tomorrow, we will know if we could wait till the next meeting or need to have a special meeting. Do you agree with that, Monitor? Good. Is that for yes?
Do we have any buses out of commission right now that will be prepared that are used as backup?
Mr. Reyes, we just finished the issue. We have one spare bus, so we have.
We were told that there's a spare. Ms. Vargas, please enter this place one night. Do you have a spare if a bus breaks down?
A 54-passenger, no.
Okay, so what are you doing for, now that you've done this to yourself, what are you doing tomorrow when there's a bus breaks down?
Pray.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the prayers. You've been praying pretty well since September.
The soonest we can get it is December anyways. What's being done between now and December to accommodate?
What has been done in the past, when we call private contractor, and it's all private contractor, our buses out, and the private contractor comes. As been happening dozens of times in the past. I've been the chair of transportation. That's what happens. There's a lot of private bus companies who call them up.
They do have available busing?
No.
They have spare buses.
Ms. Vargas, answer the question.
Yeah. So, no, the answer is no. Sometimes they have availability, sometimes they do not. When they have availability, the price is very high. It runs from $100 to $200 an hour on a recovery rate. I pay drivers $20 an hour.
No, we understand. That's what we want to see financial. We want to see the financial.
No, the private companies do not have as much resource as we think they do at times.
At times, yes. We'll do that.
So I have 0 54-passenger spares. I have 1
Lisa,
24-passenger.
Ms. Vargas?
Yes, sir.
You know why this is really speculative events? I'll tell you why. Even if the board would vote tonight, they ain't getting the bus until December, right? Do you agree? Right? Good. So guess what? We're going to get this all done. It's not good, again, even if they would say yes tonight, you're not having the bus until December, right?
Not a problem.
You agree with that?
Yes, sir. Just answering the question.
No, I got it. So I know for many years, from many angles, he likes these things in writing. I'm sure we can do that, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
I guess for me, I just want to make sure that the kids will be okay for tomorrow. So this tonight's not going to impact students.
Yeah, we won't get the bus until the end of December anyway.
No matter what we do, we can't get it.
I just want to just make sure.
Get it done. Don't worry about it. They get to school.
The monitors and
Can we have a vote, please?
One other question from Lisa to answer. And what happens when a vendor does not have a bus, even at $120 an hour? How do you transfer those kids home?
Sometimes we'll double up on shorter routes. Usually, unfortunately, the high school or the middle school, because they're bigger cluster routes. So we'll drop off the first route and then double back, but we'll let the principals know ahead of time.
there is no dispute, I go again to Labor Day, that we need more capacity. So let's move on, we beat this dead.
We have a vote, please.
Right? Okay, you will get an email by Friday through the superintendent only as to this information, and there you go. So your motion was to approve the agenda,
My motion was to add the corrections and the additions to the agenda.
and to table letter N.
Yes.
So we're going to do the motion to approve the agenda and the motion to accept and correct the agenda
Well,
at the
so
same time. They go
yes.
hand in hand.
Yes.
Okay.
And there, just for the public benefit, sitting to the back, over there, on your agenda is Mr. Finger. Mr.
Yes.
Finger was our former VA. He's on your agenda to be the interim assistant VA, excuse me, working with Kevin. So that's on your agenda also. Mr. Finger, thank you for waiting it out. Tonight there is no charge. It starts tomorrow. But look who's talking, right? All right, let's go.
One additional question.
Oh,
Mr. Basic.
For this vote, do you need 5 people that are yes or no for it to pass, or is it just a simple majority of the people that are here?
Simple majority.
there's personnel on there. Do you have any questions you want to ask?
The issue about this busing thing, so we...
Well, watch this. The monitors who are responsible people, it doesn't mean we don't differ at times, they are telling you it's okay to table in.
Okay.
So that's what they said. So let's not get super crazy here, and because then we're going to all say we're here for the children. They said it's okay, right? Like it's okay, right? Come on, I would rather also. So it's okay.
No, we let you vote on it separately.
Can we have a vote? Can we have a vote, please? This is a business agenda. Is there personnel on the business agenda?
The corrections to the agenda and the additions to the agenda do have some personnel issues on it.
Okay, I thought it was just the business agenda.
Okay, but now with that, your motion continues. We've had the discussion.
Yes.
You had the
Can we have a vote,
discussion.
please?
Can you call the vote?
Wait a second, are you tabling or you just
I'm tabling it, the end.
He's not approving it. He's just waiting for the information.
Okay, so we're going to table item N, and we're going to take a vote on that for the table?
No, you're going to vote his whole package.
The whole package. Approve.
Which is approve everything,
And
table
table
in.
in. Okay.
Is there a second?
Yes, wait a second.
Each member's going to have to say they approve everything but...
Yeah, each member will just, say, if you agree with that, will say you're approving the agenda and the addendum and the corrections, but for letter N, I can say this backwards too, but for the letter N, which you are tabling, should you wish to do that.
So simply yes or no would work?
Well, again, let me,
It would work if you were approving letter N.
Right.
If you want to table it the way I want it,
So,
my sure is, if you want N tabled, you have to say I want N tabled. If you want it approved, you say I vote to approve. Period. Let's go.
Mr. Blackman.
Yes, but except N, which I want to table.
Got it. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, but I want in approved.
Okay, so that would be yes total.
Yes, total.
Correct. Mr. Newhouse. Mr. Racick.
Well, since the monitors approve, I'll say yes for table N.
Mr. Rodriguez. Out. Mr. Kendler.
Yes, and table letter N.
Mr. Tressier.
he is not here, so it would be hard to vote.
Ms. Gonzalez. Absent. Mr. Bender.
Yes, except that I can table number N.
So everything passes except letter N.
And just so there's no lack of clarity, Ms. Vargas, Kevin will, again, any questions you have, go through the superintendent, and they will get you information by Friday. You are all agreeing, if there's a need for a special meeting, which hopefully there isn't, you will make yourselves available because we have to get children to school.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to Mr. Finger.
Mr. Finger, welcome home. Good luck.
Wait a second, we haven't voted on it yet. You voted to accept the corrections and the additions to the agenda. We are now working on the business agenda now.
Okay,
With
the motion to
the
approve the business
corrections.
agenda. And item N is already out, so just, so everything as a whole.
Mr. Campbell, just confirm if they vote yes, they're voting for everything except letter N.
That's correct.
Good. Is there a motion approved? Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call it.
Mrs. Lackinen.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson Byers.
Yes.
Mr. Newhouse. Mr. Racick.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Tendler.
Yes.
Mr. Tressier. Ms. Gonzalez. Mr. Bender.
Yes.
So everything has been approved now, except for letter N.
That's correct.
Motion to approve superintendent's agenda.
Now on the superintendent's agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Mrs. Lackinen.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson Byers.
Yes.
Mr. Newhouse, absent. Mr. Racick.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez, absent. Mr. Tendler.
Yes.
Mr. Tressier, absent. Mr. Gonzalez, absent. Mr. Bender.
Yes.
Everything approves. Yeah, welcome aboard, Mr. Bender.
Congratulations.
Are there any committee reports? Correspondence or communications?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Third.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. This is Mr.